Look, I'm going to give you a background while we tee up our next guest. So, as you know, and I did a thundering editorial, which was widely viewed over the weekend, about what is really happening at NZME. It's New Zealand Media and Entertainment is the name of the company. It owns the Herald. It owns News Talk or Snooze Talk ZB. It actually owns the company that provides our news bulletins and is silly enough to say Pregnant People. And I just want to correct that. Only women can get pregnant. You ask Leah Panapa knows all about this. She's the expert on that. So that company that has hitherto kind of been owned, and believe this, NZME was not majority owned by New Zealanders. And I'm not sure that it still is, actually. It was overseas hedge funds and investors, not really interested in New Zealand or our democracy or our society, who were just looking to get the right numbers out of NZME. And as a result, well, NZME kind of was a law unto itself editorially, and it embraced things like DEI and wokeism hugely. What has happened in the last, 6 weeks or so is a group of people, new investors have come in. One of them happens to be a billionaire. There are many other billionaires who own slices of NZME already, by the way. And they have come together into a group who have enough votes to have called or to say at the next annual general meeting, we are going to remove the entire board, current board of NZME, because we don't think it's doing its job properly. We'll put in a new board. This guy, Jim Grennan, I understand, the Canadian billionaire, who mainstream media have been trying to character assassinate, he'll be the chair. News emerging that a guy called Philip Crump, who used to work under the name Thomas Cramner, and is now on, I think, the Waitangi Tribunal in New Zealand on air, he's going to be on the board. One other board member will be invited back, existing board member for continuity, and there'll be one or two others. But what it is signalling is a massive shake-up, particularly in the Herald, a massive shake-up in editorial approach by NZME. I think they will leave ZB editorially largely alone because it is perceived as being, centrist, not woke, not left-wing. Might be a couple of people there who've got problems. I think they're going to get rid of their chief executive, who's on $3 million a year, Michael Boggs, the chief executive of NZME, $3 million a year for a company that lost $16 million last year. And I think there have been reports in business media that they're going to sell a thing called One Roof, which is kind of a trade me for real estate that they set up and they own. And I think they're going to take the One Roof company and sell it off or make it a separate company, and they're left with the news media company that sells advertising and everything. And then I believe they're going to go through and they're going to get rid of the most woke journalists that exist in the Herald and stuff, like people like Simon Wilson, David Fisher. I imagine their days will be numbered. And this is a good idea because the union, the E2 union, is now saying it's a threat to impartiality. Well, to discuss all this, and I've given you the background, we're joined by, and he's now no longer a lecturer, I don't think, or it's not associated with Victoria University. He is the director of the Integrity Institute, our good friend Bryce Edwards. Bryce, how are you?
Hi, Sean. Yes, it's pretty exciting, pretty interesting stuff going on in NZME.
It is, isn't it? And I think, look, I was really interested in the weekend that Michael Woods comes out and says, E2 Union, and I do not know what their coverage is at NZME. Oh, we're really worried about bias and interference in the editorial process. And I had to laugh, Bryce. He's the head of this union, and he's a former Labour Party cabinet minister.
Well, yes, he's changed his job after being sacked by the electorate back in 2023, and I guess he's doing his job in the journalist union, which is now called E2. they have to stand up for journalism, for
But they
integrity.
didn't stand up against the Public Interest Journalism Fund, which
Oh,
compromised
look,
their...
that's a good. I think that's a great point, and I think they needed to, at the time, have a debate about that and make sure that that was properly scrutinised. So yeah, you're right about that. They should have scrutinised that just as they're scrutinising this.
Yeah. But there is nothing illegal's happening here, or dark, Bryce, is it?
No.
Jim Grennan is
Nothing
publicly
illegal,
notifying everything he's doing, as are the other shareholders. This is all perfectly legal and above board, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And most media in New Zealand has always been privately owned, and there's fluctuation in who owns it. So in the past, you've had the likes of Tony O'Reilly and Rupert Murdoch owning parts of the Herald. This is just one more kind of billionaire coming in, and
Bryce, there are other billionaires with shares in the Herald. Did you know that?
I'm not surprised by that. I can't remember who they are.
Is there something inherently evil or bad about being a billionaire?
I don't think so, but at the current time, we're seeing a lot of billionaires throughout the world, whether it's Musk or Bezos, and with the Washington Post, that are actually having an impact on the media that they own and pushing it in certain directions. So,
isn't that what an owner has the right to do?
Oh, look, they do, but the media, as you and I know, plays such a vital role in democracy. And so if things are skewed or pushed in a certain direction by the owners, I do think we need to scrutinise that. And that's not to say that the current
I'd much rather
are pushing
be pushed
the
in a direction by the owners, by the government, through taxpayer subsidy and all sorts of secret deals.
That's right. I think that you're absolutely right that any state influence on the direction of media also can be chilling and disturbing. So yeah, you're right about that.
Look, I'll tell you one thing, Bryce, and I did want to ask you specifically about this morning. There is an outfit called Internews, which is some sort of global organisation, and an advertising agency called Group M. Have you heard of these two organisations?
I follow sort of this area quite a bit, but I've never heard of them.
Maybe we need to talk off here. There is a suggestion that a number of major news organisations in New Zealand have entered into some sort of agreement for this non-profit Internews organisation, and Group M, who claim to be the biggest sort of aggregator of advertising agencies and advertising media spend in the world, bar none, that they have introduced a way of kind of rainbow tick auditing media organisations for receiving advertising. And if you don't measure up, they put you on the blacklist. And apparently the Herald, Newsroom, Stuff, and TV1 are taking part in this.
Okay, well, that is fascinating. And I guess what we're getting at here in this whole debate is this issue of culture wars or woke politics, if you like, and this idea that a lot of New Zealand outlets, media outlets, have come under the spell of these culture wars. And I think people like Jim Greenan is getting involved because he wants to push back against that, in the same way as, I guess, what the platform is trying to do. And there's no doubt that the media in the last decade has become a lot more, focused on culture wars, and maybe even infected by them. And so
I'm not
like
infected. The only thing I'm infected by is a search for the truth, Bryce. But Bryce, the problem is surely with an outfit like the Herald that trust in mainstream media is plummeting, now down to 27%, right?
Yeah.
That outfits like the Herald are turning off their comment section, right? And they are running stories about cross-dressing 8-year-olds who ride quad bikes. You know,
well, I think there's a place for those sort of stories.
Do you?
But yes, you do need...
Do you in a serious news organisation? Do you? State-funded, by the way. State-funded videos.
I'm not aware of that story, but I think we do need a lot of diversity of perspectives on these issues. And at the moment,
I just think we need the truth, Bryce.
Balance.
We just need the truth.
I think there's analysis that comes from left, right, centre, liberal, conservative, and we need all of those things in there. And we need a media landscape that serves all of that, and arguably it doesn't at the moment. And certainly I would criticise the media landscape for that. And perhaps what Greenham is doing will be a correction to that, but I guess there's worries that it could overcorrect or it could take things in all sorts of other
I would say it
directions.
inevitably will overcorrect. That's the nature of life. The pendulum's going to swing back too far the other way, and it never quite, we just have got to enjoy the moments when it's in the middle.
Well, whatever happens, it needs scrutiny because there's not enough of that in New Zealand politics and media, in my view.
Yeah. How long before do you think we're going to be told that Jim Grennan is a threat to democracy?